Hello, everyone, and welcome to ChangeCockpit Copilot or ChangeCockpit Free Edition in March 2024. My name is Rolf Trönle, and I am an MVP and your host for today's presentation of ChangeCockpit. So, for today's agenda, we see in the current and following month, in total, there are 119 changes which are being rolled out only in March and April. And for Copilot alone, it's 14 changes. For those of you who are new to this, ChangeCockpit is a service where I will present or where I present each month all changes which are being rolled out in the current and the following month only. Normally, we see here on the graph, it's between 80 and 100 changes, and this month it's 119 and 14 for Copilot. The grayed out parts are the workloads which are part of the full subscription ChangeCockpit edition, and if you're interested to get the demonstration or to be part of it for free for 1 month, and if you aren't already a current member, then please let me know. Contact information will be also at the end of the slides. So the normal slides are built like this. We see the title on top, what the change is about. On the left side, description, change detail, meaning what the change is in detail about. Then as ever, if I have ever a screenshot, then I will put it in here just to show what the change is about. Upper right corner is the workload. Where are we currently inside the ChangeCockpit, like Teams or OneDrive or whatever workload the change is up in or categorized in. Then we have more information on the right side, like roadmap ID, message center ID. If you need more information because this particular change is quite important for you or your users, then you can dig in deeper using this information or just ask me by email or chat. This is part of ChangeCockpit you can always ask questions regarding the presented changes. Then the status, the expected rollout date, we can see on the lower right side when will this change be rolled out or when is the expected rollout date. Often they are quite a little bit behind of these dates which are announced here. Then the target audience, is it for admins, user information, or user training? User training is for changes which are really big changes where I would say, hey, please get to your users or just create training sessions for your users and about this particular change. Slide number, if you would like to take some notes, then here we will see the license note if a special license is needed. Obviously, for the Copilot part here, it's always Copilot or almost always Copilot for M365 needed to have this feature. And then, if available, the relevance score. So let's start with the workload Copilot for Microsoft 365. First change this month is enterprise and web grounding in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and OneNote. What does this mean? Copilot currently, we can see here the Copilot for M365 in Word normally has, or today has no graph grounding. This means that Copilot isn't able to access your Microsoft search engine, your full text index of all your own documents in your tenant. After this change has rolled out, then all these Copilot integrations are able to access your enterprise data in your graph, in your Microsoft search, as well as web searches using the default on plugin we will see in another change. And this is quite important because you have all your data with a full text index in your Microsoft search, and you are even able to configure more graph connectors to your surrounding systems, like if you have file servers on premises or other third-party systems, like something from Atlassian or other systems which have support for graph connectors. You can attach these systems to your graph and your search index, and then Copilot is also can also access this data and use it as input, or can render output according to your questions which you are, or to your commands which you are using in Copilot integrations in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So the implementation or the rollout sequence of this change, it's quite a big rollout window from April till September, is first Word with Windows and Online, then PowerPoint, Excel, and OneNote. So it can take a bit of time until the last of these application gets the fully integrated version for Microsoft, the Copilot for Microsoft 365. Next change is about Copilot in chat on mobile. Copilot chat is already available since 2 months or so in Teams, on Teams desktop, and it will now be also available on Teams iOS and Android. In chat in Teams, no matter if it's Android, iOS, or the full desktop edition, you will get chat date dividers. Before, you didn't see exactly on what date or on what day this chat was. Yes, you've seen the date in here, the 29th of January as an example, but after this change rolled out, it's more clearly with the date dividers, Monday or Tuesday. So it's a minor graphical update which will help you to see when the past chat conversations happened. It's a bit different on the experience if it's on desktop or mobile. In desktop, it's if the chat is less than 1 week old, it will show you the day of the week, and if it's older than 1 week, it's the date. And if it's in the last calendar year, the year will also be displayed. And in the mobile edition for yesterday, it will just write yesterday, and if it's and from then it will take the weekday and time, and then more than 1 week old, it's just only date and time. Then chat, next change, chat will have the web content in default on. That's the chat in Copilot for Microsoft 365. So in the last ChangeCockpit in February, I announced the tenant default on. This was default off in the first place, and now then it was tenant default on, but user default off. And now the user will also be switched to default on. This means that Copilot chat in Teams will have access to external web sources and also integrate external web searches into your chat conversations. It will show you where the source is, and it will show you if the information came from Copilot itself or from an external web source. When this feature is being rolled out in your tenant for your users, then your users will get this banner shown here, Enhance Copilot with plugins, and it will show that the web content plugin is default turned on. Copilot it will be integrated also into forms. It's already rolled out. If you create a new forms, then you can just add text on what survey you would like to create, and then it will just add questions for your forms form. As you can see here on the video, I used here a default prompt, clicked on generate, and it generated all the answers I need for this employee survey. And once it's done, then you can edit or delete questions you don't like in this survey, or just add your own questions afterwards. It's quite helpful to create easily new form surveys. Copilot Academy, that's another addition. If you have Copilot for M365 and you have Viva Learning or Viva Suite license, you need both licenses, then you will get access to Copilot Academy. This is a learning course to learn more about the use and how to use Copilot in M365. This is on by default, and if you wish so, then it's possible to deactivate it in Admin Center for Viva Learning. Copilot for Sales will be integrated in Teams meeting. Yes, Copilot for Sales is another license. It's not integrated in Copilot for M365. It is another subscription called Copilot for Sales. And this one is also integrated, for example, in Outlook, and it's in use if you use Dynamics 365 as well for your sales data. Then if the Copilot for Sales now in preview, an admin must first activate the plugin in the integrated apps admin center. And once this is activated, then your users can enable Copilot for Sales in Teams meetings. And then the Copilot in the Teams meeting is able to access Dynamics 365 data to retrieve sales and brand information directly from your Dynamics 365 tenant. If you have Copilot for a longer time, then it's possible you still have in Teams the chat application called M365 Chat. This will now be migrated to the Copilot for Microsoft 365 Chat. Users will get banners on top, which will show them, hey, this app has been upgraded to Copilot for M365. It's another app. It's actually not an upgrade of the app. It's another app. So the user has to switch to the new app. The old app will be discontinued in April. The banner rollout will start sometimes this month if it didn't already happen in your tenant. And quite important, the existing chat history is not migrated or copied or transferred. If the user still needs some prompts in there and wants to save, then they have to save this manually. Copilot dashboard was announced in last ChangeCockpit. Copilot dashboard is integrated into the Viva Insights dashboard and will show you the usage, and will also give some recommendations for the adoption of Copilot in M365. So it's quite, if you have Viva Suite or Viva Insight licenses, then you are able to access this Copilot dashboard, and this can really help your company for the adoption of Copilot in M365. So you gain the maximum benefit of your investments of this license. This will now enable by default. You have criteria for tenants and you have criteria for users, so they will be by default able to access the Copilot dashboard. You need the manager ID attribute assigned to your users. That's obvious if you also use Viva Insights. Then the majority of users are part of a single reporting line, and the tenant has more than 2,500 seats. That are the tenant criteria. And the criteria for users is user is in top 3 level in the org hierarchy, and the user has a significant number of users in his reporting line. Microsoft didn't tell us what a significant number of users is actually, but we don't know. So then when all these criteria are met, then the users will have default access to Copilot dashboard. Another new feature is a restricted SharePoint search. By default, the SharePoint search indexes all SharePoint sites and pages into your Microsoft search or in the graph engine. This also means that Copilot uses by default all your SharePoint information as input if you are talking or if you are chatting with Copilot for M365. This is on one hand very important. So you have access to all of your company data inside Copilot, but on the other hand, if you have rubbish stored inside, then if you use bad input, you will get bad output quality. So if you want to whitelist Copilot to only use sites which you know have a good quality of information in it, then you can use restricted SharePoint search. This is not a restricted Copilot, it's a restricted SharePoint search. So this means that also non-Copilot user will be restricted in the SharePoint search itself when they are searching for information. You will also get, if you enable this feature, you will also get a banner on top. Your organization's admin has restricted Copilot from accessing certain SharePoint sites, so users know that they don't get information from all of your sites. By default, this feature is off, but when you switch it on, as just mentioned, the banner appears and you are able to configure a maximum of 100 SharePoint online sites. Content from frequently used pages from the users will also be used in the search. Users' OneDrive files, chats, emails, and calendars is still being used even if you restrict the SharePoint search itself. Files that were shared directly with the users are used as input, and files that the user has viewed, edited, or created will also still being used when working with Copilot or SharePoint search. Service health and admin change, service health consolidation. So all services which have the name Copilot in it, no matter if it's Copilot for M365 or Copilot with commercial data protection, the free edition, or the Bing search Copilot, will be accumulated together into the new service status Microsoft Copilot. Then you will get an update to the Admin Center usage report. You have all these usage reports also for other services in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. One of this is Copilot for M365. And there will be now upgrade to the graph grounded chat because the graph ground, so the Copilot chat will be included in the usage matrix. They will add it from date back till end of November 2023, and this means this results in an increase in the number of active users and active user rates. So don't be surprised if you get a jump in there. That's because they add some more metrics from the chat. So it's quite normal then if you have a spike in usage. And this metric itself is labeled as Copilot chat in the usage report. You will get another service plan. If you manage your service plans dedicated in your license, then this is, or individually, then this could be important to you. You will get a new service plan called Copilot Studio and Copilot for M365. No, you won't get for free the Copilot Studio license. That's another license, another subscription. If you want to create Copilot applications or extend Copilot for yourself, custom Copilot development, then you can add a subscription to these developers called Copilot Studio. And with this, you will get Copilot Studio and Copilot for M365 access. You can then access the Copilot Studio, but you cannot create custom developments with this license. For this, you will still need the dedicated, as just mentioned, the dedicated Copilot Studio subscription. Another service plan upgrade or change. This is, it's not an upgrade, it's just a rename. Microsoft 365 Chat in the current service plan for Microsoft Copilot for M365 will be renamed to Microsoft Copilot with Graph Grounded Chat. So it's just a display name rename. If you work with PowerShell scripts and are using the SKU or part numbers, then nothing will change for you. If you're working or if you with the display name, then you need to change your scripts. And just in case, if you wonder what this new service plan is, then it's just a renamed plan for the chat service. This will happen actually on the 20th of March. So today, for those who watch the presentation when it is being uploaded. That's it for this month Copilot upgrades. If you want to be part of the full Change Cockpit, please let me know. If you want to see the other workloads as well. The next dates are the 24th of April. Normally Change Cockpit is every third Wednesday of the month. The English version is from 3 till 5 Switzerland time in the afternoon. And as mentioned, it's normally the third Wednesday, except it's mentioned in here. The next one in April is the fourth Wednesday of the month. So we will hear each other. Even I also published a free Copilot edition as well on the dates when the Change Cockpit is happening, also subscription edition. So the next version will be uploaded on the 24th of April. Feedback is always welcome. If you have any questions to these changes or regarding these changes, please let me know. You can either email me or chat in Teams to rolf@changecockpit.ch. And then thanks for watching and see you next month. I hope you could get some new information in here. Feedback is always welcome. And then I would say goodbye.